Welcome to homework.
Alrighty, so in this problem, we're going to design 4 different conversion factors. So the first one we're going to be doing is going to be centimeters per minute into inches per second. So I can kind of just write out 1 centimeter on top and minute on the bottom. So that is just because that's the same thing as we see in the problem. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we have centimeters in the numerator here. Why don't we try and get rid of it and somehow replace it with inches? So my first unit kind of conversion right here, since centimeters is in the numerator in this first part, I'm going to put centimeters in the denominator of the second part. So I'm going to say 2.54 centimeters is the same thing as 1 inch. So the reason I put centimeters in the denominator is because I can cross out centimeters here and centimeters there. That leaves me with inches right here and inches right there. So that's a good thing because that is basically what we're looking for in our answer. Now what we need to do is we basically need to get from minutes to seconds. So since minutes is in the denominator right here, what I'm going to do is put it in the numerator of the next part. So I can say that 1 minute is the same thing as 60 seconds. Right? So in this case, minutes is going to cross out. Minutes is going to cross out. I'm left with inches right here per second. Right? Which means my unit conversion is going to be the same thing as 1 over 2.54 times 60, or approximately equal to 1 over 152.4. Now you could make that into a even prettier decimal. I'm going to choose not to just for the sake of time. All right, so the next one we're going to do is meters cubed to inches cubed. And this one's a little trickier. So I can say I have 1 meter cubed, right? So let's ignore the cubed and let's just say I'm going to get from meters to inches, right? And how we're going to do that is first get to centimeters and then from centimeters into inches. So nice and easy. Since meters is the numerator, I put it in the denominator of my next thing. I can say that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. Nice and easy. I can make my second little x. And I can say that 2.54 centimeters is the same thing as 1 inch. Okay, so now we're running into problems, right? Because if I were to cancel everything as it is, I would be left with meters cubed up top, right? Because meters and meters cubed, these two right here and right here, can't just cancel each other out completely. So my final unit wouldn't be inches squared, it would be meters cubed. Now, that's not at all what I want, right? That's not what the question is asking for. So what I need to do is I need to somehow get this meter right here to be the same thing as this thing right here. So how we're going to do that is I'm going to draw a parenthesis right here and right here. And I'm going to add a cube right here. So what this is doing is essentially changing this meter into a meter cubed. That way it can cross out there and there. So now I have the same problem, right? I have centimeters cubed. And I need to get rid of centimeters here. I'm going to solve this pretty much the exact same way by drawing a little parenthesis here and adding a cube. Right? So now I've got this guy in this cube and then inches in this cube again. So when everything's canceled, what that leaves me with, let me rewrite all of my units nice and clean in blue. I'm going to have 1 meter cubed. It's going to be times 100 cubed centimeters cubed per meters cubed times 1 cubed inch cubed over 2.54 cubed centimeters cubed. Right, and then those cubes are just coming from me distributing this guy onto there and onto there. Right, so now all of my units, as you can see, cross out super nice. Meters cubed to meters cubed, centimeters cubed to centimeters cubed, leaving me only with inches cubed right here. So my final unit conversion is going to be the same thing as 100 cubed over 2.54 cubed, which if you kind of type it out, it's approximately equal to 61023.74. Looks like I accidentally added a little dot there. That won't make you think that's a decimal place. All right, so that is my final unit conversion right there. All right, so the next two we're going to do, the first one is meters per second squared to kilometers per hour squared. So this one, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write out, I can say meters per second squared. Nice and easy, right? First thing I want to do is get rid of meters. I can say that 1,000 meters is the same thing as 1 kilometer, right? Meters cancels, meters cancels. The next thing I can do is I can try and get rid of the second, right? So I can say that 3,600 seconds is the same thing as 1 hour. So we're going to run into the same problem that we did with this guy right here, but this time we know how to solve it, right? So since I have seconds squared right here, I know I just need to square this whole thing. So if you go through the units, everything cancels, and I'm left with kilometers per hour squared, which is exactly what I wanted, which means my final unit conversion is equal to 3,600 squared over 1,000, which if you do the math is approximately 12,960. Okay. Last one is going to be gallons per hour into liters per minute, right? So I can say I have 1 gal per H. First thing I want to do is get rid of gallons and add liters. So I can say that this is 1 gallon is, I think it's 3.78 liters. As my second unit conversion, I can go from from hours to minutes. So I can say 1 hour is 60 minutes, right? So I can say gallons cancels there, gallon cancels there, hours cancel there, hours cancel there, leaving me with liters per minute, exactly like I wanted, which means my final unit conversion is 3.78 over 60, which is approximately the same thing as 0.063.